who's joining in, just give us a few moments. I think we'll have our guest for today join us shortly. Hi also to this beautiful family that we have on YouTube. So it's been such a lovely journey just getting to know all of you and you being a part of this amazing podcast that we've been building. इतने सारे women को हम लेकर आए हैं who are all achievers in their own space doing such interesting things. So I hope that कुछ ना कुछ आप सीखे हैं उस जर्नी से. And अगर आप चाहते हैं कि हम किसी को लेके आए, somebody who you feel truly inspires you, please let us know. We're always excited to know who we can bring on, what fields you would like to listen to about more. किससे आप सीख सकते हैं, you know, all of those things. So it will be just an honor to bring in new guests, new people, for all of us to learn something new. So please बताइए कि हम किन किन को ला सकते हैं. And again, it will be so much fun. Maahi, who is our guest for today, she will be joining us very shortly. So as she joins, we'll definitely discuss about her story. We'll definitely discuss about what she's been doing as well. So it will be a lot of fun. Hey, hi Maahi.
Hi, hello.
Okay, all good. Do you want to come in the center of the frame?
I think I am in the center of the frame. Let me just check.
Yeah, a little bit to the...
Is that okay?
A little bit further, please. Yes, perfect, perfect. Now it's good. Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I think it's a pleasure and an honor for me to be able to share a meaningful conversation with you.
Likewise.
And thank you for everybody who is joining in.
Yeah. And we had so many questions coming in from the audience as well. I was just asking in the community that we have, what is it that they'd like to know? And it was just so interesting how people are very keen to now explore different forms of music, even more so as popular culture sort of represents different forms of music as well. So yeah, just a very quick introduction to everyone who's joining, you know, about what Maahi's been doing all these years. So she's a Hindustani classical vocalist and an educator, and she started her journey with music when she was 4 years old. So by now she has more than a decade of experience in music, and she's also gotten her Sangeet Visharad degree. She has been recognized on multiple platforms at the state, national level, multiple scholarships that she's won. So I'll just name a few. Indian Oil Corporation Scholarship, Srimati Rekha Date Memorial Scholarship, the Mitra Foundation Scholarship, and she's also designed music for a theatre production called Glitch in the Myth. She performs live vocals with the tabla, which again she's been learning ever since she was 4 years old. She's lent her voice to Rebel Ranis by the Kalika Dance Company. And she's also acted in this movie called Sniff, which was directed by Amol Gupte. So that is just a very short snippet of what she's done in this small, short journey that's just started. But so many achievements already. So kudos, congratulations.
Thank you.
And like I was saying earlier, just onwards and upwards to you. So okay, let's get started to understand your journey, Maahi. You started learning music at the age of 4. What is your earliest memory of what drew you to music? Why did you want to, I'd say, build a career in the space of creative arts?
So I think wanting to do it as a career, and I think that thought came really, quite later. But I was like around 3 or 4. And whenever there used to be music playing in the car radio, like for example, Allah Ke Bande, Jhalak Dikhla Ja, all of these songs, like in around 2005 and that time, I used to just identify the song based on the prelude music, even before the lyrics started. I would start singing it in the car, and my mom would be like, "Arey, how does she know?" So that sort of made her think that I might have something to do with music. And she enrolled me for music classes, but though that was predominantly film music, and it didn't have much to do with classical music. And I started learning in a couple of other instances, like there was a fancy dress competition, and my mom was wanting to teach me this poem called Kagas Ki Gudiya Ki Aankh Nahi Hai. So she designed a whole dress of chart paper for me. She took so many efforts to kind of make me learn that poem, but I would just refuse to learn and say it back to her. So she was like, let's see what she does. And on the day of the competition, the moment they announced my name, I just like snatched the mic from the compere, and I said the whole poem like a song. And my mom was just amazed. So then she really felt that I should learn music, and I think I have some attraction with the mic and the stage, and so I started learning. And then I started getting good at it, and then I gained more interest. So yeah, I think that is my earliest memory and initiation into the world of music.
How amazing. It seems as though you were born for it, almost, you know. Lovely. So I think it almost seems like the story of a prodigy child, but as kids, it's so important that that prodigy, that talent that we have is sort of supported by
Yeah,
an environment at home, support system, you know, academics, music, managing multiple things,
Mhm.
you creating your own music also, hard, difficult timelines. So, what has been the family support structure been like? What has the not just support structure, but like encouragement at home and just helping
Mm.
you do all of these amazing things that you're doing all at once?
I think I'm very grateful to my parents, and both of them, they've also always had a creative side to themselves. My dad is a poet, and my mother is a beautiful artist. Like she paints and draws, but none of them are trained, so we don't have a background of like I don't belong from a musical family. Even my elder sister is a Bharatanatyam dancer and a theater maker, so arts runs like it just runs in the blood, so to speak. So they've always been very supportive and, a natural love for the arts. So they started taking me to classes. Then I started performing as a child artist in various different shows. So my parents would always come with me backstage, the whole day of rehearsals, and every time they would be around. Um, and then I decided to, I was performing a show. I think I should say this incident. It's very special to my heart. I was performing a show. And Lakshmikant Pyarelal ji, Shan, Shekhar, Ravjiani, all of these people were in the audience. I sang Ek Do Teen, which was the song composed by Lakshmikant Pyarelal ji. And in that show, he really came up to me and said, "Ki beti, aapki awaaz bahut achhi hai, and you should learn classical music." So the organizer of that show suggested my parents that they should teach me classical music for a better foundation and for good theoretical knowledge about all the keys and all the notes and everything. So then my parents decided to teach me classical music, and they had no clue about that world because their taste was also music and ghazals and around that. The way everybody in India, we all have kind of have that sort of a conditioned taste because of film music. So I think the learning journey is as much as theirs, I mean, the curve as it is mine, because for them, they didn't know what classical music is. They don't know how it works, what efforts go into practice, how I should be practicing, how they should be monitoring my practice. I think they had nothing to do with that. And, as I was learning, they were also learning. And I think it's a shared journey with my parents of, walking this path. They always held me hand by hand and, yeah, just supported me through all my learning so far. So then I started learning classical music, and they also shifted from like Bombay to Thane because my guru was in Thane. So they took such a massive steps that I'm more closer and I could learn every day. So I think the support from them is just it's huge. It's huge, immense. Yeah.
How amazing. I think when there's just like wind beneath the wings is when you
Wings.
can really truly fly. So
Yeah. Yeah.
glad that there's that, and nothing matches. I think just love, support at home. You can do
Hmm.
just so much more if you have that.
Yeah. And around my eighth and 10th grade, they started to feel that I'm not able to devote as much time as I should to my practice and my training because, exams and academics and
Mhm.
everything. So they also decided that I should homeschool. So I gave my 10th and 12th grade examinations through an open schooling board, National Institute of Open Schooling. And I think all those years I was just learning, practicing, performing, learning, practicing, performing, giving my exams, music exams. Yeah. And I think that was a very crucial period considering my age and the capacity that you have to learn in your younger days versus in the later stages of your life. I think because of them and their ideas regarding my education, I really got to utilize that time very well and just squeeze it in order to enhance my potential as a musician.
Lovely, fantastic. And I think one interesting thing that you also mentioned was how, for them, music was about perhaps popular
Yeah.
culture music, Bollywood music, or more Western music, or ghazals don't really fall into these. But um, I'd love your perspective on how people have sort of their some people are getting closer to our classical music roots while a lot of people are getting farther away also. It's both ways right now with so
Yeah.
many concerts and just availability on different distribution channels.
Hmm.
People who love something can really consume it, but a lot of people also remain unaware of this beautiful, I think, heritage that we have in our
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
What is your vision to bring forth as an artist who's trained, loved, wants to continue to build a career in the space of music,
Yeah.
how is it that we can rediscover classical music in our country?
I think a Hindustani classical music or even Carnatic classical music
Hmm.
is a very historied traditions, and there's just ancient forms of music, right from Dhrupad and all of those earlier forms of classical music. I think firstly, um, I think it has to do with culture starting at home, and how your parents really expose you to Indian culture and Indian heritage. In general, like at the whole roof under which all of this comes. Dance, classical music, classical literature, a certain type of films. I think all of this really starts at home, and it really, you know, I think it has a lot to do with one's upbringing in general. And then one starts to develop a certain taste for that music. And then you start to read about it, listen to different artists, attend concerts. So, I think it starts at home. And I think the format of classical concerts sometimes is intimidating for those who are new and for those who are uninitiated into this type of music. So I think I have a band of my own called Kaleidoscope Classical. And what we try to do with that is we break the ice between the performers and the audience. And we give a lot of context about what we're singing, even theoretically, technically, and in the forms of like mini anecdotes. And we use contemporary instruments like guitar and something that is familiar with a modern audience and an urban audience. So, I think, as you said, what's my vision to bring it to newer audiences? I think using um, ways and using storytelling in a way that it feels familiar to them, and sort of hand hold them into that music and bring them along with you into that journey, so that they don't feel like I don't know what world I am in, and I have not I don't they don't feel that sort of belonging with that kind of music. So I think giving context and using different instruments and presenting it in a certain way really helps to take that music forward, and it opens that path to gaining and bringing different audiences,
Oh wow, I love how you're building Kaleidoscope,
but
and I
while
love.
also keeping the roots intact, and keeping the complexity as complex as it is. Thank you.
Yeah, no, amazing. I think it's very interesting how you are also educating your audience.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I think I've been a student of music myself.
Oh, that's
Um,
lovely to know.
yeah, like not to say that I went all the way to Visharad, but for 2 3 years I was
Mhm.
learning classical music, and I think when you are able to add the storytelling aspect to it, when
Yeah.
you're able to educate the audience, is when they really start to make it their own. So I love that you're
Mm.
building that.
Thank
Are
you.
you doing concerts, and are you doing them pan India? Are you
Yes.
doing them out of okay? Oh, lovely. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pan India for now. Maybe in
Fantastic.
in later along my journey, I would like to go outside the country as well. But
Is there anything planned for Bangalore anytime soon?
Bangalore, I think we performed 3 shows of Kaleidoscope last December in
Okay.
Bangalore, and I
Okay.
think the response of the audience was just fabulous. And they really like the fact that they're being given context about what they're walking into and what they're consuming.
Yeah.
I think, and it really helps. And a lot of people, DM me on Instagram or message me saying that, oh, because of your concert, I googled so and so artist, I googled who Kumar Gandharva is, I heard this composition on YouTube, and sort of that bringing them into this world like slowly and gradually. So I think we are achieving what we set out to do. And that's really
Amazing. Amazing.
heartwarming to see. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And whenever you're performing next in Bangalore, if I'm coming down to a city where you're performing, I'd love to be a part of this, and I'd love for folks in the RareReach fam also to know about this. So I think we will be in touch
We
over
would
there.
also love to have you at our show.
Thank you.
Let you
Thank
know.
you. Amazing. So I think another very interesting facet of what you've explored is singing for a movie is Sang for Acid. And I think it's such a powerful subject.
Mm,
And over
yeah.
the years, I think what I've seen is that when there is an interesting story, a sensitive story that is being told, then it's not a lot of words, it's more the voice, and it's more, I think, how people experience it. And
Mm,
music is such an important part of that. So,
yeah.
being a part of Acid and singing for the movie, how was that experience for you? And how did you make sure that whatever the character was feeling was being translated through your voice?
Mm. Uh, I think when music serves a larger purpose, it starts to, there's a shift in the energy. of what the music is able to do and how it is able to really bring to life what is happening on screen, uh, while not fully, taking center stage, but being backstage, how it's very beautifully able to translate those things into sound and into a sonic, experience for the audiences. Acid was a very sensitive film. It was based on the life of a acid attack victim, a female acid attack victim who was very young in age. So the brief that I was given in the recording studio was that, she's recently been through this, acid attack, and she's dealing with the trauma and she has with that. I think I'm getting goosebumps even recalling the scene. And, she'd also lost her father at a very young age. So the lyrics of the songs were Abba, Teri Maujudagi. And, it was in Urdu. A lot of the words were in Urdu. And they were looking out for a young child, like a female child singing that song, and also having a very high pitched voice. So they auditioned a lot of female young kids, to sing. And most of them weren't able to sing in like a D sharp E pitch. So I think I fit the bill. I naturally have a high pitched voice. So um, but dealing with the lyrics, I think I did seek help from my dad, because for me, pronouncing Urdu was at that point quite a deal. I wasn't able to do it really well. I mean, I would understand the notation and the melody and the rhythm of the song, but the words were something I had to work with. So I think my dad really helped out with that, and my mom came with me all through the the recording session from like morning to night in the studio. And I think trying to embody what that person is feeling, what the character is going through, it really makes the song sound more personal and as if it's a lived truth and a lived experience. So I really imagined how I would feel if I lost my father. And I think when I was recording the song, I think my mom was a witness. I was tearing up in the studio, because the words and the composition, it was so sensitive, so moving, and I think it was just biting at the core of my being at that point. So I feel when we really internalize the music that we're trying to put out, I think the impact is just, it grows manifold. Yeah.
That's very, very special.
Yeah.
I think when we're able to.
And I think when the song came out and when we went to see the movie, I think both my parents were really, they had this moment of seeing my name come in the credits as the vocalist. And every time my dad would listen to that song on YouTube or wherever it is available, he still just starts to cry. And that was like a 12, 13-year-old me singing that song. So my voice was, it wasn't too mature. It was still like the voice of a child, but still in pitch. So I think that's what I really like to see, that even now the song is relevant and my father still cries when he listens to it. So I think maybe I did a good job
Yeah.
with that song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely. And I love the fact that you went into it not just taking it as a project where, okay, this is what I'm delivering. I think being in the shoes of the character, understanding the
Yeah.
director's vision and delivering on that
Yeah.
um, is what just makes it
Yeah. And
very, very
during
good.
the music launch of that film, I mean, I was invited to the event and I got to meet a lot of real life acid attack victims
Mm.
in that event. And I think the strength that they have and how fearless and brave they are and the way they're leading their lives is something I think I had to take from that. And it was so inspiring to see. So overall, very, very lovely experience with that song and that film.
Fabulous. Um, okay, so this was an experience of singing in a movie, in a very special movie for a very special song. Likewise, you've also performed for theatre productions, so whether it's a Glitch in the Myth or whether that's Rebel Ranis. How did these opportunities come about, and what really inspired you to be a part of these productions? And because it's a very different format of singing, also. So,
Mm,
what went
yeah.
about in these experiences?
Um, I guess I have something really similar to say, as I said in the earlier question. Um, when music starts to serve a story, and it has the ability to build these worlds out of thin air. And while the sister very rightly says that, to underscore a production and to, sonically bring a narrative alive and breathe fresh life into it is something I never discovered, and that side I never explored. And she really gave me the opportunity to design the score for the whole play, about 90 minutes, and while also keeping it fully classically rooted. Like there is no song that I've chosen which is already somebody else's work. Like the music is not secondhand, what I'm saying, that it's not that we're taking somebody else's work and passing it on as our own, or just taking it and saying that it's our own work. I started selecting a lot of different bandishes, Indian classical raga compositions, which would, lyrically go with what the story is at that point in the play. And I think we also managed to do a very interesting fusion between Bharatnatyam and tabla as an instrument, because Bharatnatyam as a form is always performed with the mridangam and not with the tabla. And I do have like sort of rudimentary tabla training, so I wanted to bring that in also. So in the play, if at all you ever get to watch it in the next shows, I sing live while playing the tabla. And I also act. I mean, my character is called Saki, Sita and Saki. So I play the younger Saki, the musical role. So with theater, I think I've noticed that there's been a lot of cross pollination of audiences. So a lot of the theater audiences know of my existence now as a classical vocalist, and I also started watching so many different plays and knowing about what their process is like in the theater, and how can I inculcate and sort of imbue that way of working with the kind of music that I am dealing with right now. So and I've gotten a lot of more theater opportunities after that, because the theater audiences are coming to my shows. People who come to my solo shows are coming to watch that play. So there's, all the audiences are just rotating across all my different work at this point. And I feel it's really beautiful because classical music presented as a solo versus it being presented as part of a play, and it's serving a larger purpose of giving a different dimension on such a traditional story of the uh, the Ramayana, and I think with every um, with every part of like in every uh, kilometer or so, the story changes. May the Ramayana and the Ramayana I know is different,
Hmm.
and the Mahabharata and the Mahabharata I know is different. So it keeps changing. The story changes with your geography, the geographical location you are based in, and I think it's very important to present those stories uh, in a way that it makes sense for the audience of today, like it having a feminist perspective, a perspective of community, of friendship, of womanhood, of sisterhood, so many different concepts. And it's also being humor and music, and the intersection of classical music and how classical music is able to serve a narrative. And I think in the larger scheme of things, it's something that a lot of us should do, because people who came for the play now know about classical music, and those who come for the classical music shows now know about, oh, theater, this is theater. And they started taking more experiences of live theater shows. So I think it's just this multidisciplinary approach to the arts, which I think is really helpful and conducive in serving a larger story than versus just us being in that one genre and one space of performing a solo concert.
Yeah, and I think I am sort of reminded of what you're doing at Kaleidoscope also,
Yeah.
which is just introduction to music, but in the format of storytelling, educating, and just like rediscovering in an art form in a
Yeah.
way that is perhaps more conducive to how people consume content today.
Yeah.
And I've seen so many, even for that matter, on Instagram, while that can give like a very small snippet of what one's musical prowess is or what their Riyaaz has been, but it can still give you like a little window, and then you can go on your own rampage of
Yeah.
exploring so many different
Correct.
facets of it. Right? So
Correct,
I think it's
correct.
just very
There's this
beautiful.
another very exciting production that I'm very fortunate to be a part of. It's called the Durga Chronicles. It's a work by Dr. Priya Srinivasan, and it's gonna be performed on the 14th of April at G5A in Mumbai. It also uses classical music and dance to serve stories of resilience and strength and violence against women on those themes. But what is very interesting in that is the cohort of artists for that production are mainly Bharatnatyam dancers and classical vocalists. But despite my training being in Hindustani music, I'm going to be performing Carnatic musical compositions. So I think that is very interesting for me to work on. And I think the point of me saying this is that I think we shouldn't be really boxed into a certain way of doing music. I think there's always a lot of different things around your main competence, or your main genre of music. I think it's very nice to keep pushing that boundary a little day by day, and to see because I think if you learn about the concepts of Carnatic music, you're able to better understand how both of them correlate with each other, or what are the similarities and what are the differences. So I think all of us should. I mean, I'm not anybody to say anything to anybody, but in my opinion and in my understanding, I feel like it really enhances your overall understanding of music as a subject, as a, as a whole, Yeah.
No, sure, absolutely. I think even today, even if we look at playback singing for that matter, back in the days, there were very few people who were able to sing across different languages. Now, there are so many people who are able to sing across different languages. And
Languages.
then, even the transience of Indian music and international pop stars collaborating across a bunch of
Yeah.
different formats. So, this is
Mm.
just sort of another version of the same thing happening where different forms of artists, not just music, are coming together to create something and tell a story. So
Yeah.
that I think is really, really cool. And I think that is going to be the future of whatever happens. Different
Yes.
energies, different
Yes.
artists just confluencing, coming together and creating something that is interesting and new.
Yes.
Lovely. So I think
Mm.
one interesting question that we did receive from folks was that just as they are starting out on their own journey of music, very unsure of how is it that they should get started with Hindustani classical music or classical music for that matter. So,
Mm.
as someone who's been an educator, who's been a student, who's been a performer, to someone who's just starting out, what would your advice be?
I think firstly, find a good tutor, somebody who you feel that you are personally connected and comfortable with. I think that really changes the dynamics of teaching, learning, or say, I think not even teaching, co-learning. I think we are also always learning with the people who are learning with us. So it's a shared journey of learning. So I think just find a good tutor and somebody who you're really comfortable with. You can tell them your dilemmas, what you're facing, what you're not understanding, what's working, what's not working. I think it's very important to always have that sort of a musical audit always going on, like what's working for you, what's not working for you, and being intentional with your learning. um, Secondly, I think it's really good to always develop a keen ear for that kind of music, so gradually start consuming that music, start going to live concerts, read about the history and the lives of artists who came before us, and because of which the tradition is still alive today and we are able to inherit it, and sort of we have that access to that music. So yeah, I think just, going to concerts, developing a ear, reading music theory day by day, and learning from from a certified, a credible coach. So I think that, gets, I mean, you start on your journey gradually with these things. And then also, I think develop really good friendships with fellow musicians. I think, that the sort of give and take and the energy exchanges that happen in those spaces really add to your musical knowledge, and, seeing what is their process of working. How do they write a song? How do they produce and arrange a song? What is their way of choosing their instruments? What is their method of performing? And what are the rituals and regimes around music? And what is their lifestyle? How do they live their life? Because I think being a good musician has a lot to do with being a good person at heart. And I think the kind of personality you have, I think it comes through very authentically in your music and in your performance. And also just keeping that sort of transparency as you move along in your journey, and that authenticity, and staying true to your own artistic truth, and not being influenced by somebody else's journey, and like becoming your own person and being original. I think that's important because in a world where 1,000 people are telling you what to do and what not to do and trying to influence you, I think it's really difficult to develop something of your own, and have a say of your own in things, and what do you think, and what is your music like, and have a distinct sound of your own, and finding your own voice and your own niche is really important, and not just following somebody else's journey and trying to emulate them. So I think yeah, stay original, learn well, and always expose yourself to different music, and not just music. I think all the arts, everything is interrelated, everything is uh, you know everything helps each other, and like all the other forms. So it's really good to always go to theater, watch films, listen to different genres of music, be it western, pop, R&B, classical, whatever it is, or indie music, everything. Learn an instrument. I think learn instrument, and learn any one percussion instrument, so that you have a very strong sense of rhythm. I think that learning tabla for 4 years really came very handy to me. And I think the kind of rhythmic sense that I have now, I didn't have back then, and it's all because of the training of tabla, and lay and tal, and the mathematics of it, different compositions, and also being able to play the tabla. Because when you are performing with a tabla player, you really need to understand what they are playing. So learn an instrument, and obviously learn to sing if you want to be a vocalist, and expose yourself to different forms of music every day and the arts in general.
I think that's true for any individual.
Yeah.
Even if they don't want to pursue a career in music, even if they don't want to learn music, just like being close to the arts,
Yeah, and I
if
think developing a good taste.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like a break
Hmm.
from what one is doing also. So, for example, for me these days, for the past few weeks, I've had the opportunity of sort of exploring different kind of concerts in Bangalore and like going to different shows, be
Lovely.
it theater,
Yeah.
be it music, and it just reminded me of how freeing, relaxing, and just like it's your time with you, and
Hmm.
it's just reconnecting with
Yeah.
your own self in a very different way, right? So I think it's very beautiful to stay connected to some form of art at
Yeah.
different points in time, because it will help in just clearing out the mind and connecting back with your core
Yeah.
self.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now
Lovely.
I have, sorry.
No, no, nothing. Yeah.
Okay, so now I have a quick rapid fire for you.
Yes.
All right, so what is one rag that you feel most connected to?
This is like, choosing which is your favorite baby out of all the babies you've given birth to. But I think, on the contrary, Sampurna Malkam says something. I
Mm-hmm.
think I feel a very different energy when I sing, or when I even listen to that rather.
Okay, one artist you would love to collaborate with.
At the top of my mind, I think Jacob Collier. He's
Okay.
just phenomenal, and yeah, I think he's a huge source of inspiration for I think everybody. Yeah,
Amazing. Okay. What is your favorite time of the day when you like to do Riyaaz?
evenings. Yeah,
Okay.
evenings.
Any reason why?
Um, I think there's just so much to do in the morning when you wake up. I think I feel in the evenings you have that sort of you ease into your practice, and there's that you feel that flow state. I think I feel it in the evenings when the sun is setting. Sometimes I light a candle and I just start on whatever what intentions I've set for that practice session. So yeah, I think evenings.
Lovely. Okay. And one thing that you always do before going on stage.
Breath work and grounding myself, and just coming to a state of composure. But what I recently started to do, I think I saw my sister doing this and then I got influenced. um, I've started to maintain a little journal of my pre-show and post-show thoughts and what went well, what didn't go well. I think I'm my biggest critique, and sometimes I'm very harsh on myself. I'm like, this wasn't good, this was crap, what did you do? Everything. So making notes of that and then incorporating that into my practice and my riyaz so that those things can be avoided in the next show.
That actually is really cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Little stage journal and a rehearsal journal. Yeah. Rehearsal diary.
Amazing. And do you feel like there's a difference in how you approach, not just Riyaaz, but like even, for example, if you journal something, has that reflection helped you be calmer, more composed, or more prepared in future concerts or like future performances?
Yeah, I think because just singing and performing from show to show sort of makes you a little mechanical. Your process
Hmm.
becomes a little
Hmm.
robotic and autopilot. And okay, this show, that show, ye karna hai, wo karna hai. But I think when you set intentions and you write things down, you reflect, and you really assess what can be done, what thing where there's more scope to change things, switch things up, tweak it, make it better, or have it fused into another aspect, another component. I think those things really enrich your process of making that music and how you show up on stage as a human, as an artist, as somebody who thinks about what they're doing, and as somebody who wants to always nurture their purpose. Like, why am I on stage? Why am I singing for people? What is my purpose? I think to always have that sort of questioning,
Hmm.
reflection, introspection, I think it really grounds you, and it keeps that purpose alive. Otherwise it's very easy to go into a loop and just do it in survival mode without really emotionally thinking about it, emotionally and intellectually thinking about it.
Amazing. Okay, lovely. So you spoke about staying aligned with your purpose,
Purpose, yeah.
and that's something that you want to continue to do. All of us want to find our purpose, and I think work towards that.
Yeah.
Right? I think we're all just asking, who are we? Why are we here? And what
Mm.
are we out to do?
Yeah.
What is Maahi out to do? What do you think is your purpose, and what do you want the future to look like? What do you dream about?
I think my purpose is to be a good student for all of my life and to always be able to learn new things and not be stagnant and have that impression that oh mere ko aa gaya, I don't need to learn anymore. I think my purpose is always to be remain a curious learner and just be a good student. Yeah, I don't think so. My purpose is to perform big shows and have a huge fan following and be famous or earn a lot of money. I think that's not my purpose. That's not my vision. I want to be a good learner. I want to take everything that my guru has to offer to me and just be devoted to that music. And I think I find my God in music, and I think that is my religion. So just being devoted and having faith in that process of doing the music and see where it takes me. I think I don't I don't impose those things on me that I have to perform so much in a month. I have to earn so much money. I think those are things that maybe I'll have to deal with a little later in my life. But at 21, I think I just want to be a good student, work on my skills, and just keep upgrading myself to a better version of being a musician and a human being. Um, so I think yeah, that's my purpose, and my vision is to also uh, pass what I have been given and to pay it forward. So, if somebody has put their heart and soul into teaching me, I think I should carry it forward and, put my heart and soul into teaching the generation that comes after me. I think that's very liberating and it makes me feel like I'm responsible towards what I've gotten and I'm grateful and I'm, really honored to be able to pass it on.
Amazing. I think very inspiring, a very humbled, grounded perspective on what you'd like to do, what you dream about. And something very special that you said was that to be a good musician, you need to be a good human being. And that I think just very beautifully reflects what kind of a human being, what kind of a musician you are. So, again, I think goes back to just congratulating your parents on
Yeah.
doing an amazing job. Just inculcating, I think, the right core values. um, my last question would be around why we built this community that we're building at RareReach, right?
Yeah.
In India, we always talk about skin tones, we talk about different body types, but we hardly used to talk about height. And I'm a 4'11" tall girl, and growing up, I really struggled with body confidence and not loving myself for the way that I looked, always wanting to look taller. And it took me a very long time to accept that. And I wanted that, just like yourselves, I think I realized that my purpose is that nobody should have to feel that they are limited in any way because of anything, really, right? Because these are all in our mind, all these limitations. So, what has your journey been with loving yourself for the way that you look, what your height is, embracing it, and being proud of who you are and not what you really look like?
Hmm. I think firstly, I'm also only 5 feet tall.
Love a short
I'm,
people.
I'm really tall. Okay. I think firstly, beauty in India. I think there's an urgent need of decolonizing beauty standards, and I think the people, young young females look at as their standards of beauty. They're not even Indians,
Hmm.
and the kind of environment they have, the atmosphere they have, the air they are breathing, the food they're eating, their genes. I think everything is different, and our genes and their genes are just incomparable. And I think we cannot say that I need to have flowy skin and my hair has to be straight and everything. I think for every country, every land, people look different. People in Africa look different. People in India look different. People across the world, everybody looks different. And I think beauty for me has always been honoring my authenticity
Hmm.
and very slightly accentuating what I already feel beautiful in me. So rather than trying to emulate and look like somebody else, I think I want to look like myself, be like myself, and also understand these things rather than blindly expecting that I should look like X person and Y person and what body type they have, and what's their waist like. And I
Hmm.
think for me, even my journey with, for example, health is not and fitness is not about like I don't want to be size zero.
Hmm.
I just want to avoid diseases, be in good health and be healthy. And I exercise to be healthy and not to, be a size zero. And I think we really need to understand beauty in a way that it doesn't harm ourselves and our mental health and our mental peace. think we need to just understand that the demographics are different everywhere. Um, and what you're eating, the way you've been brought up, all of these things really matter and they make a difference. And just honoring where you come from and where you belong and your land and the culture, the clothing. I think India, we have such beautiful textiles, ajrak, ikat, saris, blah blah blah. There's just so much with what we wear, and I think we should take pride in that rather than wanting to wear, I don't know, a Gucci or whatever that is not made in our country.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe, I think if we do have so much money to spend, why not give it to the communities who are actually making these textiles and all this art and craft that is so much of it is in Gujarat and Maheshwar, etc., etc. Just knowing about these communities, their work, showing our love and I think our support towards them. I think that's something we need to do. And I think everybody has their own right and their own opinion on this. But in my humble understanding, I feel like my truth and my truth as a person is to honor the land I come from. Yeah.
Beautiful. I think I completely agree with every single thing that you said. And I so agree that we've built these role models uh, that a lot of youngers want to look like. We never can. We
I
never
think we
should
can't.
want to.
Yeah.
And I think this is just conditioning that needs to be removed. And
Mm.
hopefully, I think the reason for Inspiring Heights is very much this. It has heights in the name, that
Yeah.
we bring in petite women achievers like yourselves to say height is not a limitation. We've had petite models, we've had petite surgeons, we've had petite lawyers, all of them sharing
Mm.
their stories of saying, I was judged in my profession for how tall I was. Somebody thought I cannot be taken seriously as a surgeon.
Yeah.
Somebody thought that I cannot be taken seriously as a lawyer and they can intimidate me in the court. And I think all of us at some point or the other have been looked at like a little child, as somebody that is very doubtable, and I think we've proven everyone
Mm.
wrong.
Yeah.
So
I
thank
think
you.
everybody has a right to feel and look beautiful. And I think anybody trying to take away that from you, I think you should just not listen to them and just avoid that. I think. Um, I used to face this in my earlier days, but now I think I managed to have that sort of conviction to not, to just be unbothered and untethered by those comments that, if at all they come my way. And just that inner security that you
Absolutely.
don't need to fit into somebody else's definition and somebody else's mold of what beauty is and,
Absolutely. Or power is,
or what
or
power is. I
talent
think
is. None of that.
I think we should all feel beautiful and secure in ourselves exactly how we are. We are enough. I don't think we need to perform beauty. Yeah, I think we are enough as we are, and I think we should honor that.
I must say that you express beautifully, because this
Thank
has
you.
been a very beautiful form of saying we don't have to perform beauty and we don't have to
Yeah.
be beautiful as per anybody's standard. So that is just such a beautiful culmination of our conversation.
I think for
And
me, wearing my mom's jewelry, her saris, my nanny's jewelry, I think it's
honor.
personal. I think I
Yeah.
feel like a part of my nanny is with me, a part of my mother is with me, and I'm also being sustainable that way, and not
Hmm.
over consuming and ruining the planet. Think making use of what you already have, and honoring also it's in a legacy. If something doesn't fit my mom, it goes to my sister. If it doesn't fit my sister, it comes to me. And if it doesn't fit to me, it goes to my Masi. So we're always rotating our wardrobe, and I think it's really beautiful that way.
I agree. I agree. And there's nothing, it's just legacy and it's just heritage that you're carrying forward in such a
Yeah,
beautiful way. And these are things that are relevant at all times.
yeah, yeah.
So
Really timeless, I think.
timeless. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but what a beautiful journey you've had so far, Maahi.
Thank
And I
you. Thank you.
think
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I really enjoyed sharing this conversation with you.
likewise, it's been
I
such a
really
pleasure.
wish you all the best. And for the community that RareReach has, I wish it keeps growing manifold and a lot of different people come and share their stories and empower everybody who is listening.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And again, congratulations on Kaleidoscope.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all of the amazing work you're doing to bring Indian heritage and culture forth to generations in a format that's relevant for today. I think that is amazing. I cannot wait to be
Thank you.
witnessing, experiencing, one of your musical productions, something in theater, something in the movies, whatever it is. I think always cheering on for you.
Thank
And
you. Thank you so much. I think there are some comments coming here. Oh, okay.
I think, as in how audience questions came in, I did try to take them. But then
Take
again, if
them.
there's something, I'll definitely relay it back to you and we can probably answer
Yes.
them. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome.
All
Have a
right. Thank
lovely
you so
afternoon.
much.
Thank you
You
again for
too.
taking the time, Maahi.
Thank you to
Thanks.
everybody who also watched and stayed with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.